Hello, everyone. We are so excited you're here. We'll give you just a couple minutes to come on in, but welcome, welcome. We are Solutions Matter, and this is the corporate cash flow, the 5 steps to winning and attracting sponsors who believe in your cause. So, my name is Grace Wallace, and this is Rooney, and we are so excited. And we will also have Rooney share how to pronounce his name properly because I always struggle and want to make sure that I'm saying it correctly. I have his last name down pretty well, but I'm still struggling with the first. So I will let the master show you guys how to pronounce it, but we're so excited. But just to kind of go ahead and start, just a little bit about who we are and about Solutions Matter. So since inception, we have helped over 300 nonprofits get started and obtain their 501(c)(3) status and a plethora of other administrative and development needs, which is such a huge honor. And we love that we are the people that get to help those who are helping the world, who are creating changes and making a difference in the world. So whether that be board recruitment, resource development, planning, or branding, marketing, everything in between, we are here to help. And that's what we do. So it's a very niche community that we're in, but we really love that we are the ones that get to pour into the world changers. And that's what each of you are today if you're in this webinar. So yeah. And now just a little bit about our founders. So Sharon Jones, I say that Sharon is the perfect blend of both professional and personal because Sharon not only is going to care about your mission and give you all of the tools that you need, but she's also going to care about who you are as a person, which I think is really, really special, and especially in a field that can be a little bit cutthroat of trying to get grants and trying to get donors and corporate sponsorships and all of those things. I think that it's really, really special that Sharon is just has the heart that she does, but she has 30 plus years of experience in raising over $500 million across multiple different sectors, which is incredible. So yeah, she specializes in so much, whether that be board development, major and leadership giving, monthly giving, face-to-face fundraising, planned giving, donor retention, and stewardship. All of that to say, our founder does it all. And so, yeah, and now we're going to just be talking about Rooney a little bit, which I will have Rooney here whenever he comes on and he begins his slideshow, just kind of talking and sharing how to pronounce his name first. But he is a dynamic nonprofit specialist, and we are so grateful to have him. He's the vice president of our client services here at Solutions Matter, and he excels at creating seamless onboarding and providing strategic consulting for all of us, and for our clients. And so Rooney is incredible, and it is such a gift to get to hear from him today. And he is certified, as you can see below. And so that's also really amazing because we know that Rooney is good at what he does, and he's been recognized for that, which is incredible. So yeah, and then a little bit about me. My name is Grace Wallace, and I'm the administrative assistant here at Solutions Matter. And I kind of serve as a liaison as well with client services and just trying to really propel our clients to feel just completely supported, completely loved, and just inspired in this process. But I have a long history in nonprofits. You know, my mom is in the Nashville area, and she's been in development for over 35 plus years. And so I always make the joke that when other kids were playing or watching cartoons, I was in the back of a board room, you know, coloring. So it's just kind of become second nature. And yeah, so I'm really honored that I get to be a part of this. And this is my career, and I'm just really lucky. So yeah, but now we're going to turn it over to Rooney. And yeah, thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Grace. That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you all. You're all welcome to Solutions Matter. where we are passionate about building board capacity and helping organizations raise money. Today, we're going to be talking about corporate cash flow, the 5 steps to ensure, you are attracting and winning sponsors and partners for your organization. Throughout this webinar, we're going to be learning really what corporate cash flow is all about. We're going to be talking about how you can create winning offers, how you can identify specific benefits for your partners. We're going to talk about how to create strategic partnerships, from putting the right systems in place to adding value and, building the right relationship. So today really is to bring your attention to bear on what you should do as regards bringing in corporate cash flow into your organization. Now, like I would always say, corporate funding, corporate cash flow, it's all about value exchange. When it comes to corporate partnership, it's very different from every other type of fundraising, because unlike other types of fundraising, when it comes to corporate funding, you have to be able to offer value in exchange for the funding or the support you ask for. I would always say you have to be able to give equal value for every dollar you ask, or even more value if you want to be successful in the corporate funding space. Now, corporate funding really became popular after the pandemic. Businesses began to see that by supporting, initiatives, by supporting nonprofits, they can increase market share, they can establish their brands in the heart of the people they serve. And rightfully so, they decided to tread this path because they knew they could grow their brand and reach their goal by doing so. But the funny thing is, lots of nonprofits are not understanding the rhythms, and they are not tapping into that flow, tapping into that opportunity, or even amplifying it, because of course, we all know the world is a place of attention. The more you amplify attention towards a particular rhythm, the more people tend to flock towards that direction. And this being an opportunity for nonprofit founders, it is a situation we have to amplify so that more businesses, more corporations can begin to come into this space. So why is corporate funding really important? One, it is unrestricted funding. Unlike the grants and the other kind of funding you get that is really restricted towards, say, a particular impact or a particular program, this is really an open funding, and it's based on how you negotiate, the value you're providing. So this could serve as a lifeblood for an organization. And then again, corporate funding is, I would always say, it is a fast way to bring in money for an organization. Unlike grants where you have to spend the next 3 to 6 months waiting for their approval, if you put out a campaign today and you put it out the right way, in a week, you could bring in millions or even 6 figures into your organization, depending on how strategic you are and the quality of the value you're putting out there. So really, corporate funding is a very important part of fundraising for every nonprofit. And I think every organization should take advantage of this unique opportunity. Every organization should hold on to corporate funding. As you go about your grant applications, as you go about your individual donations, corporate funding should always be on the side, because it could bring in funding as soon as possible. It is unrestricted funding. And by connecting with these businesses, you're growing your community backing across your organization. So you must have heard terms like corporate social responsibilities. You must have heard terms like corporate sponsorship. You must have heard terms like corporate partnership, corporate funding, and all the likes. All these fall within the stethoscope of corporate cash flow. And it's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Now, to secure this funding, there are steps every founder must take. There are steps every board must take. Now, I want to say this. Corporate funding isn't really just any kind of funding. It is a funding that requires the attention of those at the very top of the organization, which are the board members, the founders, the executive management. Because when it comes to corporate funding, it's really an executive to executive relationship. You as an executive, you're connecting with an executive of another brand. So it is not a process you can just delegate off to a staff, or you could put out to a volunteer. It is a process that's going to require your attention. It's a process that's going to require your board attention to be able to be successful. And this is really the process we're going to be taking you through today. Now, what are the 5 steps you must take to be able to bring in corporate funding for your organization? The very first step is you must craft a winning offer for your organization. Now, a winning offer that provide values and benefits for your partner. So like we've said at the beginning, corporate partnership is a value exchange strategy. So where it really starts, at you identifying what are the values within our organization that we can provide these partners who are looking to ask for funding from. Now, in some situations, some of these values and benefits have to be created. In some situations, some of these values and benefits are already lying low across the organization. So for example, an organization operating in Nashville, over the course of your program in a year, you get to reach 100,000 residents of Nashville. That's a huge value there that we could now put out to say, if you sponsor us, we can take you along our program and then we give you all the exposure we get. 100K is a very good number any brand would want to invest in. And if you're asking for something sensible, they would, of course, want to give to you. So that's an example of a value that's already lying around that you could just pick up and then, just put out there. In some situations, you have to create the value. So there was an organization we're working with, and they had this food drive where they go out there to distribute food to homeless people and people across the street, and using that opportunity to invite them in for financial literacy training. So what we did was, because that process was already going, and then what we wanted to do was we wanted to capture value for the partners through that process. We decided to increase the number of volunteers that was going to be doing the outreach. So at first it was just 3 volunteers doing the outreach. We increased the number to 20, and then we provided t-shirts, branded t-shirts for these volunteers. So now what we're doing is, if 3 volunteers could reach, say, when 3 volunteers were out there doing the distribution, we're able to have between 50 to 100 participants within the financial literacy program. With 20 volunteers, we're going to be getting at least 300 or more participants. Now, this is the good thing for the partner. The volunteers get to put on the branded t-shirts for the sponsors, which gives more publicity, because 3 people, of course, against 20 is more publicity. The more people that are invited into the program, more publicity also, because as they come into the program, they also get to be exposed to the sponsor. So that way, we're able to create additional value within the value chain for that organization. So really, there are those values that are already lying low. There are those benefits you can just mop up and put together and put out there to say, if you fund us, we could give you this, right? Or you could really look into your organization and then identify or create values that you can now provide this sponsor. Now, off to the next step. Now, before I go on to the next step, I want you to remember that you, your board, and your executive management team must be a part of creating that value for the volunteers and the people you serve. Now, the next step, you have to build your dream team, the partnership acquisition committee. Like I said, when it comes to corporate funding, it is an executive to executive relationship. It is not something you can just delegate off to a staff or, just anybody. It is a process your board, your executive team has to commit to. So this is really where you develop the team that's going to be in charge of reaching out and bringing in the resources as regards corporate cash flow. Now, what we do is, because you don't want the entire board to be focused on just one area of the organization, we have to create a committee that's mandated with the responsibility of negotiating and making the ask on behalf of the organization. So this committee could be made up of board members, could be made up of volunteers, could be made up of staff, executive management team, could even be made up of stakeholders from within the community you serve. Now, each of these group of people have their roles within the committee. The board members are not supposed to be out there doing the marketing, trying to set up meetings, because that would wear them out. So it means the staff and the volunteers are the ones who do the outreach, who try to set up the meetings, so that these board members can go into these meetings to make the ask and negotiate on behalf of the organization. So really, you need that kind of a team that's both going out there to set up these meetings and a team that's both going into these meetings to make the ask, for you to be able to successfully raise money through corporate funding. It is an ongoing process. So on a day-to-day basis, the outreach team is out there trying to set up meetings, and then the committee in charge of meeting with these executives could pick days within the week they go into these meetings to make the ask, so that process is running consistently for the organization. That's really where the result is. That's really where the you get to bring in corporate funding. Now, it is this committee who's in charge of identifying the resources they need across the campaign. It is this committee that develops their schedule of execution. It is this committee that recruits and bring in the people they need to be able to execute on the strategy. So, of course, developing the partnership acquisition committee, it is very critical and crucial for raising money. Now, once you are able to have the committee, how then can you make the ask? Or how then can you launch the campaign so that you can be able to bring in these partners? Like I said, during the committee creation stage, I said there's the outreach committee, and then there's the committee who is in charge of meeting these executives to make the ask. The reason why this is so is really because when it comes to corporate funding, it's usually on the high side. It's not individual donations that has to do with $1,000, and below. So it means for them to really donate or give to you, there has to be some formal engagement. It has to be either a physical engagement or some form of virtual engagement where you're meeting and discussing. That is why the strategy is really for you to go out there to set up the meeting, because if truly you have to meet with these guys before they support you, then why are we delaying the meeting? Our responsibility is just to get that meeting as fast as possible so that you can get closer to the funding. So really, that's why the strategy is out that way. And then it's now move on to the next step of the process, which is where we get to create system for the partnership acquisition. Now, for outreach, the system is really around both the outreach and those who negotiate the deal. right? Now, for the outreach, there are different ways you can go about outreach, bringing in, your bringing in partners. Of course, during the planning phase, you've identified the people you want to reach out to. So what are the strategies to reach out? I'm going to talk a bit on this because we've seen that there are a lot of errors in this process that have really frustrated a lot of founders and, organizations. People think reaching out to corporations and companies is all about just pulling up a long email list of companies and just sending out these emails, sending out these sponsorship packages, gold, silver, just asking them to pick whatever they want to pick from. The truth is this: it is people within these companies who make the decision to sponsor your organization. And the people who make these decisions are usually the CEO, the board presidents, the business manager, the partnership manager, the corporate social responsibility director. These are the people who have the kind of influence to either, say, let's go for this, or let's contemplate around this and make a decision for this. So you sending your emails through the official company emails, it's most likely not going to get close to any of these executive people who you want to be communicating to. So if you're ever going to send out an official email through official company details, it should be to ask whoever is on the other side, who is usually a customer care representative, to connect you to a possible decision maker, whether it's the CEO, the partnership manager, or somebody who's capable of making decisions or influencing the organization in your direction. Never to sell through the official email of these companies, because the customer care representatives are tuned to turn off any emails coming from this direction that's actually asking for money or support. So how then do you reach out? The goal is to identify the executive management team of these companies and then build a relationship with them. So this is really where your outreach team need to understand that there's a process to winning corporations onto your side. When they go out there to bring in these executives and these top level people, they don't go out there with the messaging of, trying to sell them or trying to just get them to make a decision immediately, but they go out with the messaging of, we're trying to build a relationship, we're trying to build a partnership, we're trying to build a lasting, let's come together to make this work for the people we serve. It is not a messaging of, we're seeking funding, we need funding, and those kind of messages lots of nonprofits like to send out there. So really understanding this is going to be very important for your partnership acquisition, because it's going to help you really tailor your message the right way, introduce yourself the right way, and really get your partners to listen to you and get to the point where they can make a decision. I would always tell clients we work with that when it comes to communication, there are different levels of decision making, right? There's the awareness stage, there's the like stage, there's the trust stage. Know, like, and trust. The awareness stage is when they first of all know about you. You then have to move them to where they get to like you, and then to where they get to trust you before you make the ask. If you make the ask during the awareness stage, you are most likely going to get a no, because people only do partnership with people who they know, like, and trust. So when you go about your outreach, let that be a center theme in your engagement. So there are different ways to go about your outreach. Of course, it is all about going where your audience are. If you are looking for CEOs of tech companies, you should know where to find them. If you're looking for CEOs or executives of animal brands, you should know where to find them. If you're looking for pastors, you should know where to find them. If you're looking for teachers, you should know where to find them. So the goal is really going where they are, whether it's social media, whether it's a physical environment, right? Going where they are and then making sure you put out your messaging. And remember, it's not a messaging of just asking off the door, but it's a messaging of saying, let's partner, let's connect, let's build, a relationship for the future. Now, once you've been able to create your system, your partnership acquisitions system, which is the outreaches, how then do you make the ask? And this is really where where most nonprofits also make mistakes, right? Your outreach team have been able to set up the meetings, and then the board members are now sitting on the other side of the table facing the executives of these brands. And in most situations, they think it's all about selling these executives on the impact that they create. So you get to see where they start talking all about the impact, trying to paint details of the impact. Now, I would say everything has its place. Of course, there's the place of selling the CEO of the impact, or, but what I would always say is every business or every company or every corporation out there has its goals for the year. So before you go into that meeting, I want you to go study the goals of the brand. They're only a partnership. The Bible says two can only work together except they agree. So if you're not helping them meet their goal, why should they even be in partnership with you, right? So your first goal, your first mission is to establish the fact that we have a common alignment and I can help you reach that goal. The moment you get that locked in, you are 10 miles ahead already. Every other conversation, from the impact to how you're going to execute the partnership, is just going to be a complimentary conversation. But if you go in thinking you're going to sell them on the impact, and then they're just going to feel all pitiful for the people you serve, and that's why they're going to give you the profits from their business, well, you have to think again. So I really want you to know this before I go into whatever strategies as regards making the ask when you go into these meetings. So for me, my go-to strategy is always asking questions. So CEO, what are your goals for the year? What are your marketing goals for the year? How are you looking to reach your profits for the year? And then when you begin to hear that messaging, you can now begin to tie your programs, tie your organization, tie your mission into those goals. If one of their goals, let's say, for example, you're meeting with a CEO from Nashville, and then one of their goals is to reach 1 million Nashville residents, and by asking questions, you've heard that they've kept aside $1 million to do that, then you can begin to let the CEO know that over the course of our program last year, we reached over 100,000 Nashville residents. And this year, we may be reaching at least 200,000. Now, with just 20% of that amount you're looking to spend on marketing, or 10% of it, we could do a lot more impact, help you reach 1/5 of the people you're looking to serve. It's really a deal on negotiation and you knowing where the value is and then really anchoring on those value. That's really why we would always, when we work with clients, we'll always campaign that the team who's going to be representing the organization, who's going to be negotiating on behalf of the organization, is properly trained. Because when they go into these situations, if they don't know how to make the ask, if they don't know how to, handle these conversations, they are going to leave these discussions, not getting the funding they asked. They might end up impressing the CEO. They might end up getting, a like, but they may not get the funding. So it's important you know where to look out for. And then once you've reached that point where you know there's a complete alignment, you can now make the ask. So other ways we also try to make the ask is going in with one of the stakeholders from the community you serve to go talk about your impact. That's a lot more impactful than you, the founder or the board member, talking about the impact. Also, using storytelling is also a good strategy. Showcasing the organization's impact and aligning with their values, also a very good strategy. Creating a compelling pitch is also a good strategy, especially if you're not one who's good on, speaking on your feet. So you've seen it. Corporate funding is very much more than just a transaction. Sponsors, if you listen all throughout my speech, I made sure to call them partners because they are partners. They are not your sponsors. They are not just it's not a transactional relationship. These are people who are coming in to say, let's work together for a common good. Even if they don't have that mentality coming in, it is you in your place to build that mentality into the relationship. So when it comes to corporate funding, it is really a matter of relationship. It is really a matter of partnership. It is really a matter of shared value, right? And then, of course, for the gift you get, it is one that helps you strengthen the partnership. Because as you get the gift, you're also supposed to use some resources out of that gift to be able to service the partnership so as to be able to, keep empowering your partner. And as your partner grow, they also help you grow. Really, that's the kind of relationship that corporate partnership is all about. Now, from my explanation, you must have seen that corporate partnership is really everyone's responsibility. There is no one who is left out of the equation, right? From the board of directors to stakeholders to partners to volunteers to staff to board committees to resource development persons to marketing persons. Everybody have to be a part of this process. That's why usually at the beginning, when we handle the planning process, where we get to define the offers and the benefits, we make sure everybody is a part of that process so that they know exactly what we're doing, their roles in what we're doing. That way, it's easier to delegate responsibility. That way, it's easy to work with everybody to achieve the same result. Now, there's the outreach. When I talked about the outreach, of course, there's the outreach where you get to reach out to the general public. And then there's also the outreach where you get to reach out to your network. So we have what we call the cycle of influence, board member cycle of influence. You can also harness the cycle of influence from your board members to bring in partners into your organization. Some of your board members are CEOs. Some of your board members have friends who are CEOs. They have family members who are CEOs. You can get them to initiate that communication, and then your corporate, your committee who's in charge of corporate partnership can now, follow up on that conversation once they've initiated and opened up that door for you. So really, it's everybody's responsibility, and there's nobody who is supposed to be left out. Even the program manager, the program director, everybody have to be a part of this process to ensure maximum success. Now, after securing the partnership, you've made the ask. What next? You have to be able to service your partnership. You have to be able to create an account for your partner. We call it an account. And then you have to also be able to delegate an account manager, somebody who's in charge of that partnership. You know why? If you just sign that document and then you go about your programs, you may find out that you end up not meeting the partnership agreement you have with your partners at the beginning. So you need somebody who's going to be the point person within your organization that's liaising with their organization, ensuring that everything that you've agreed, the milestone, the partnership benefits are all being delivered. Corporate partnership does not end with when you get the money. It continues because it's a relationship. You just started a relationship, and then you must be able to service your relationship and also invest in your relationship. So that's why you have to be able to appoint somebody who's going to be the account person managing that partnership, ensuring that the partnership is on track, progress is being achieved, milestones are achieved, and the outcomes are properly evaluated. Without that process in place, you may not be able to fulfill your partnership to your partners, and that may hurt your future opportunities. So you must be able to, learn to inspire your partners to become the advocates even after, working with you. You have to be able to get to your partners to introduce you to new partners, because business people, CEOs, they're usually connected. They can introduce you to their network, and that could be a whole game changer for your organization as well. Now, as you've seen, this is beyond the usual fundraising you used to know. The usual fundraising you used to know is all about just going after grants, going after individual donations, just trying to raise money whichever way you think you can. But really, this is a resource development process, because you're really developing resources from building out your board, planning with your board, to developing committees, equipping these committees, and then you all executing, meeting up with these partners. It is really a process you're creating. And then it is a process that you must continue to execute to continue to create results. So this, to an extent, goes beyond the usual fundraising, because I know the usual fundraising is all about just going after the money. But this usually is you going after relationships and then transforming those relationships into funding for your organization. So we at Solutions Matter, we're really disrupting the industry. We're changing the conversation. We want you to know that fundraising goes beyond just asking for money. Fundraising is really resource development. It's really initiating those relationships. It is really nurturing those relationships, and then creating a system that's going to be a win-win for every participant involved, right? Both the people you serve, both your organization, and even the partner who supported you towards that mission. That is really what fundraising, resource development is all about. So to recap, for you to win corporate sponsorship, corporate funding for your organization, you must be able to identify and create value within your organization for your partners. You must be able to build and equip a dedicated committee that's going to support you in making this and to actualize this mission. You need to create a system for partnership acquisition, which is a system that helps you execute regularly. Your outreach team is out there executing. The committee in charge of meeting with these executives are going out there to meet with these guys and making the ask, right? And then you need to consistently make the ask. And when you get this relationship, of course, you must be able to nurture this relationship, appoint an account manager, turn these partners into advocates, get them to introduce you to their network, and you continue to ensure this system runs consistently within your organization. Of course, you can expand the whole approach, right? This approach most likely is an organic approach. You can reach out to as many companies as possible within your limits. But if you want to expand the approach, you could run adverts through LinkedIn, pay to be promoted on business magazines, right? using resources, you can reach out to more brands and increase the possibility of bringing in more partnership. So it's a very wonderful approach. If you start bringing in these resources, basically you get a proof of concept. All I would advise is just go in, put in more resources, and then you can begin to create more results. This could actually be a stable source of income for your organization going forward. So I'm happy we've been able to come to the end of this wonderful topic. You know, the goal of this topic is to get you to execute and to start taking action. So please do not sit on it. Ask me any questions. I know I've been able to, I've talked so much. The process is so comprehensive, but I had to really simplify it the best I can. If you have any question, please type it in the chat section below. Ask any question. I'll be happy to help you. To book a free discovery call, you can use the link on the screen. Reach out to us, book a free discovery call with us. We'll look into your organization, we'll look into your fundraising, help you see what's not happening right, help you see what you can start doing to start, bringing the results, bringing in the funding, help you see how you can implement this strategy into your organization, right? So that you can reach your fundraising goal. And of course, ask me any question. I'm here to answer you. I'll be back again to work with you. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Rooney. Yeah. Well, if anybody has any questions, I think I see one of what would be a great way to reach out to set a lunch with a donor, but to, unlike Pat, I think what they're saying is like to set a lunch for an ask, not just like a regular, nice to meet you, but for the ask. What language would you use to make that, so that the potential sponsor or donor knows that, okay, this is going to be a different kind of lunch?
So I think what I'll say is before you make the ask, it means you've asked all the right questions. You know what the goal of the business is. You know the mission of the business, what they are really about. So it means at that point you have good knowledge before you are inviting the prospect in to make the ask. So what I would say if I were you is simple. Reach out to the business owner saying, we've been able to establish that this is your goal. And being an organization, this is what we do. Based on what we do, we've seen that we can be able to help you achieve your goal, and we would love to discuss what that would look like, what a partnership to help you achieve your goal would look like. So really, most business owners would pick up that because everybody is looking for ways to grow their business, reach their goal. And so it's really about saying, we've seen that this is what you are going after. And based on what we're doing, we've seen that we can help you. Let's meet to discuss and see how we can make that a possibility for you. So I think that's really the language I'll use if I were you. But of course, we've seen that a lot of people haven't really done that research before they want to make that connection. So I would say go make that research before you make the connection if you've not done so. But if you've done so, simply anchor on what their need is. I'll tell you, majority of this, a good part of this strategy is based on what is in it for me. So when it comes to really the asking point, it is really what you're putting forward to say, this is really what is in it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much for that, Rooney. And I think just to reiterate of making sure that you are asking the right questions beforehand and you're doing your research. But when you do set those meetings and you are, about to propose or you're about to, offer a sponsorship kind of deal or a partnership, not a sponsorship, but of, potentially having, well, not potentially, I think that Rooney would agree with this, of making sure that you have all of your documents in order, that you can give them a breakdown of this is exactly what we're proposing, because yeah, you want to make sure that they're not just having it in email. I think having it in written form is really helpful. And especially in those meetings, I think that it shows that you care and that you're trying to be as clear and concise as possible. So I think that that's also a really good way to be intentional as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't see, I don't
I
think
see
I
another
see,
question here.
oh, you, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so for a newly formed nonprofit, do you do you suggest seeking sponsorship as a first fundraising activity? Well, I think a lot nonprofits are different and nonprofits are unique. If your nonprofit based on your mission, based on your unique standing, that's like what makes sense to be the best way to raise money as your first fundraising activity, I would say go for it. There's really no restriction. And like we said, it's really a value exchange strategy. So we've seen businesses who come into business today just because they came into a place where there's a need, they go all out, and then they're bringing in money. So if you are a new nonprofit and you're coming into a space where you see you could provide some value in return for that sponsorship, regardless of whether you're new or you're old, go for it. Because if you can deliver that benefit, then it is worth getting funding and support for, really. And then there's this understanding we used to have around the marketing space where we say if you know 1% more than the next person, it's enough for the person to pay you. So if you have even the slightest value that you could provide to that partner, even regardless whether it's your first fundraising activity or you're new, then of course it is enough for that partner to support your organization for. I see another question here. Is it better to approach the corporate marketing department or the corporate foundation if they have one? Now, this is really one thing I've always, one question I've always gotten from founders. If you go to the corporate marketing department or the corporate foundation arm, be ready to fall into, they have a list of these criteria and eligibility and process. And, so be ready to fall into that process once you go that way. Say you're reaching out to the corporate social responsibility department, the corporate foundation, they are going to put you in line. I would say if you have people who apply for you, go for it. If you can apply, go for it. But really, the goal and the strategy is to go to the decision makers, have a meeting, let them know you have something of value to offer. You're not just here to take the money, you're also here to provide value, and then really discuss on that relationship. These brands are out there looking for partners. They're out there looking for people who to work with to help them, reach their goal. And that is really what you're offering at this stage. So if you could apply for the foundations, go for it. They're going to fall you in line. But if you really want to get in, reach out to these executives of these brands, offer a partnership, right? It's just like the job interview market. The people who usually get the jobs are usually people who reached out to the recruiter, people who reached out to the CEO, or people from the CEO's network, or, most people who apply directly are just like, they just file you off, without proper considerations. So, but if you are strategic, just like those strategic job seekers, of course, you can get the meeting, propose value. And then again, you're not going in to beg, you're going in to negotiate based on the value you can provide. So I would say if you can reach out to those foundations, do, but the strategy really is to get in front of the decision maker, so you can get that relationship started. Again, what are the best ways to reach out to corporates, how to start the relationships? So, like I said, reach out to the decision makers. If you have a list of companies, research the executive management the executive management of these companies, right? And then go on LinkedIn, add them up on LinkedIn, send them an introductory message saying, hello, I'm UTAM. This is my organization. This is what we do. This is the kind of benefits we can provide your organization. I'm looking to build some sort of partnership. Let's meet sometime to discuss what that would look like. So it's really just you initiating those relationships as much as possible with these executives, so you can be able to get them to support or partner with your organization. Of course, there are other ways to initiate the relationship. You could have somebody within your board who is already connected to these people, make the introduction, and then you take up the conversation. It's really, and then of course, there's the aspect of you building an entire committee where you have the outreach team helping you set up meetings, and then you go into these meetings to, build the relationship and then make the ask.
I think that is that all of them. I think that's all of our questions. Do you see any more?
Okay, what is your YouTube channel link? We'll send that out to all participants.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So that
So,
everybody can get that.
yeah, that's the questions I've seen so far. So,
Hey, I think that's it. Yeah. What were you saying, Rooney?
yeah, I wanted to say any more questions, we're here to answer.
If you guys have anything else. But if you don't, just to reiterate, just to let you guys know, we offer a free discovery call, a free 30-minute discovery call. And please, please, please book with us. So what's the worst thing that happens is that you get some more clarity on next steps, or you decide you want to go in a different route, but that gives you clarity. We truly care about people. We care about your mission, and we are not in the business of just making a quick dime. We're in a business of propelling people's missions and empowering them so that you can change the world, because you are change makers. And what a beautiful thing that is. And so please book this. You can take a picture of that, but that link should be, yeah, a way for you to book a discovery call with us. So, and then next, I just want to talk about this. This is one of our packages, a couple of our different packages. But so fundraising is an art and a science, and we've mastered both. And so with this package, you gain a dedicated team of experts who will handle every aspect of fundraising, from meticulous research and donor cultivation to securing major gifts and grants. Consider it your all-in-one solution for sustainable financial growth. So this is for fundraising execution. The deliverables include a market study, which, if you have been in this industry at all, you know how valuable a great market study is. So yeah, a market study is used to pinpoint high potential prospects, identification of diverse funding streams tailored to your mission, direct outreach and engagement with strategic partners and sponsors, ongoing support and consultation to maximize fundraising success. And the investment is $5,500. And then, so board member empowerment. This is personally one of my favorite things that we do here at Solutions Matter, because your board members are truly some of the heartbeat of your organization. And sometimes, you've gotta check your heart health. And so you have to check your board health, and you have to make sure that your board has been trained and knows what their investment looks like. And so imagine a board that's not just informed, but inspired to drive your mission forward. So half day workshops, and we also offer full day workshops, but for the half day, it's ideal for a focused introduction to your board roles and responsibilities. A full day workshop is a deeper dive into equipping your board with advanced fundraising strategies and techniques. So the deliverables include comprehensive board training workshop. This equips your board members with knowledge and tools to fulfill their roles effectively, fostering a culture of engagement and fundraising ownership. So that can be half day or full day options, and then customized board manual with essential resources and downloadable worksheets and templates. So the half day in-person workshop is 10,500, and then half day virtual workshop is 4,500. And full day in-person workshop 18,500, and then full day virtual workshop 7,500. So yeah, these are all really great options. But just to reiterate that we have other solutions, we have other products, other packages, and we would love to talk to you about those. And then yeah, this is an exclusive offer for you all, which we have an organizational assessment, a fundraising review audit, which is review your RD infrastructure and recommend strategies. And you can see the cost of these, right? And just know that this is, it's a big deal to have these things done. And we are offering just exclusively for our workshop attendees. We didn't offer this for our last workshop. This is not like every single webinar that we're doing. So you guys are special today, and we're excited to have you. But the discount, we are discounting it for the organizational assessment to $7,625, and it's a valuable tool for newly hired CEOs, executive directors, or resource development professionals. And then, yeah, for the fundraising review and audit, for the discount, we're offering it to be 10,500. So just know that we're giving you this, this discount, and we are excited to work with you. And if you need help financing, please, there's a link for you to see if you qualify. We also have pay in full bonuses. And so just to remember that workshop attendees, if you pay in full, you receive 1.5 hours per month of virtual fundraising counsel and technical support for 6 months, which is incredible, and just a really great tool as well. So yeah, feel free to take a picture of this if it's just something you want to keep in the back of your mind and remember. But that is all that we have today. And again, I just want to say thank you to Rooney. Let's give it up for him. Clap, 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 virtual claps. And to Sharon, and thank you. Let's give it up for you guys for sitting and being patient and listening and eager. We so appreciate you here at Solutions Matter. And if you want to get into contact with us, here is our information. Feel free to take a picture of this. And yeah, these slides, if you reach out to us as well, we will email you the recording of this presentation. So thank you guys so much. And we appreciate you, and have a great day. And yeah, that's all that I have. Rooney, do you have anything else?
Nothing else.